As YouTube boxing sends ripples throughout the internet, there is one name that stands out among the rest, solely responsible for doing so. Enter the problem child, Jake Paul. Whether it's stealing Floyd Money Mayweather's hat or calling out the Fury family while commentating fights at ringside, the YouTube sensation is putting on a show for fans. Let's dive in on the latest and greatest from Jake Paul. First up, a call-out. In the hurt business, there are bound to be rivalries. Some are set in good intentions, whereas others are dripping in bad blood. Jake Paul vs. Tommy Fury is a matchup that has been a long time coming in the YouTube boxing scene. Paul has recently come out and said that he will be willing to give Tommy another chance at inking out the contract and making the bout official. And it's not a Jake Paul interview without a little trash talk, is it? Jake later stated that he wouldn't even have to train for Tommy if he does pull through with making the fight happen. If you don't know, Jake is basically referring to Tommy's controversial fallout ahead of their fight in early 2022. Tommy suffered from a broken rib and a bacterial chest infection, which led him to pull the plug and fall victim to Jake's accusations that he was ducking him. In the days leading up to the battle, we did see a video leak of Tommy training with Brother Tyson as the Gypsy King hammered blows to his abdomen. Brother Love gone a little too far? As the two were finally able to fight again in August, the conclusion was still the same. Tommy had visa issues, which stopped the UK boxer from entering the USA. Jake followed up his statements by saying that he's putting his finances in harm's way by even considering giving Tommy another chance at him. Guess where there's a bully, there is a father trying to save his son. Coming up, friction with the Furies. The father of the Furies, John Fury, has his fair share of words after Jake's provocative antics ringside Tommy's recent bout against Raleigh Lambert. John expressed that Jake had let himself down and accused him of being the reason why the two haven't laid hands on each other despite the friction. He claimed that Jake was terrified and wouldn't even get in the ring with Father Fury. John was seen raging, being advised by security as Jake mockingly signaled to him to come get these hands. The rest of the interview was, well, you get the picture. Jake was also seen putting on a pair of headphones, snoozing off as Tommy took to the ring in his fight. Even Floyd Mayweather was having none of it, telling authorities that he refuses to enter the ring with Jake still in the arena. Looks like the problem child surely does live up to his name, but will he accept John Fury's bare-knuckle call-out? We are still yet to see. For now, let's stick to 10-ounce gloves as we move on to the next segment, following up with Rise of the Paul. But what led us here? A YouTuber, once a vlogger, now squaring up against one of the most decorated families in all of boxing, and getting the better of them. It's a strange world we live in. Jake Paul was a product of the YouTube boxing scene made popular by his English rival, KSI, also known as Olajide Olatunji. His first fight was on the undercard of Logan vs. KSI, as he squared up against KSI's brother, Deji. We saw glimpses of Jake's composure and clean form during the fight, as he managed to get the win. And so began a series of fights that commenced the rise of Paul. After winning against Nate Robinson and Anessen Gibb early on in his career, it wasn't until Jake took on former UFC grappler Ben Askren
Jean Pascal and
Get
also
my money,
cruiserweight
Jake. Get
contender.
my money, Jake.
that he started to get mainstream attention. Paul talked the talk and walked the walk by knocking out Askren in the first round. The bout was controversial, with many speculating Ben sold out and let Jake knock him out cold. Whatever may be the case, the bottom line was Jake managed to defeat someone who was an actual fighter. The ripple effect was made, and Paul was making moves. He started being explicit with his plans, and he even speculated about fighting Canelo Alvarez one day. To shun critics more, Paul has now gathered comprehensive wins against UFC legends Tyron Woodley and the Spider himself, Anderson Silva. But what will his fight against Tommy look like? Moving on to Jake versus Tommy. So let's say that the Jake versus Tommy Fury fight does come through. What would the result look like? Coming from a rich lineage of fighting history and the pressures of arguably the best heavyweight boxer in the world being your brother, it seems like Tommy Fury is the favorite coming into this fight. Leading up to their canceled fight in August, the odds showed a 66.67% chance that the fight would be in favor of Fury. But after Jake's win against Anderson Silva, looks like we ought to give Jake a little more credit. Jake has a slight reach advantage, being an inch taller than Fury, whereas the British brawler has a bulkier physique. Our prediction: the fight will go the distance, with Jake winning by knockout in the dying minutes. Until then, it looks like Jake has his sights on another bad boy in the industry. Next up, Jake versus Tate. Looks like Jake isn't going to wait till Tommy says yes for him to pick his next opponent, and looks like his voice is about to break the internet. A cryptic caption Nation revealed a short video that would send fans reeling for more info. In the video, we saw them revealing themselves as he took off his signature sunglasses. The top G himself, Andrew Tate. That's right, folks. We might just be seeing the biggest YouTuber boxing event in history. If you've been living under a rock and haven't heard about Andrew Tate, he's an American kickboxer turned millionaire who has garnered a cult fan following over the years. Andrew was recently banned from all social media platforms for his colorful, misogynistic remarks against women. For some, Andrew has all the attributes to make for the perfect antagonist. He lives in Romania, has a fighting background, and can don a cigar in his hand like a natural. But can he take on Jake? Tate has had quite a decorated career in kickboxing during his early days as a fighter. The internet sensation has won 17 out of his 19 professional fights, which is an impressive feat. And as he flaunts his riches and chiseled physique, one can say Andrew is still quite fit to enter the ring in the sport of boxing. However, the bout is still under negotiations, and we are yet to hear any confirmation. There is little to be said about when the fight is to take place. What we do know is that the fight is set to be a blockbuster, gathering record-breaking pay-per-view numbers. Speaking of which, coming up, is influencer boxing good for the sport? There seems to be a constant debate on whether YouTube boxing is good for the sport overall. Boxing has had a rich history, being one of the oldest known sports today. We've seen greats such as Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson. It seems fair for fans to be skeptical about the sports being carried out by vloggers and influencers. Jake did gather some giggles as he compared himself to Ali, but where the 6-0 boxer may get carried away with his words, the numbers don't lie. According to Forbes, Jake made $40 million in 2021 alone, ranking him 20th on the list of the world's highest paid athletes. Jake earned more than Canelo Alvarez, who needs no introduction if you are a boxing enthusiast yourself. The potential is right there, and we see more and more boxing athletes on the come up, cashing in on the phenomenon that is YouTube boxing. But what makes it so special? Finally, YouTube boxing. Say what you will about YouTube boxing, you can't deny that influencers have brought many eyes to the sport. First off, who wouldn't want a pretty boy vlogger to get pummeled in the head for 12 rounds? Just us? Okay. Jokes aside, it is all business in the end. It's important to note that that very influencer will bring along millions of followers to the table. If you look at the biggest names in YouTube boxing today, Jake and KSI combined to have more than 40 million followers altogether. Things have escalated to the point where we now see influencers own major boxing promotions as well, with the likes of Social Gloves and KSI's Misfits Boxing, even arguably the greatest of all time. Floyd Money Mayweather cashed in on the action with his recent fight against YouTuber Deji. You can already see the winds of change settling in as people have already started to give influencers a fighting chance. The WBC president, Mauricio Sulaiman, praised Jake for his emphatic win against Anderson Silva, claiming that whoever disregards him is simply a bitter hater. Jake was also offered an official WBC ranking if his fight against Hasim Rahman Jr. would have pulled through. Sadly, we are yet to see Jake's name amongst the mainstream sharks. Maybe we'll see him fighting the likes of Canelo one day. Who knows? That's a wrap for this video. What are your predictions for Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.